Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Okay. Check, check. Anyone there? Anyone out there in the ether? This video is sponsored by LaCroix Mojito flavor. Pretty good. Pretty solid, I would say. Anybody out there? Okay. Loud. What's good? Audio therapy. Thanks for coming through. Really appreciate it. No, I'm actually not sleepy. I just have a very droopy face. I think that's what's going on here. But thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate this. Once again, this video is sponsored by LaCroix Mojito flavor. Delicious, beautiful, tropical sweet. Brazil, that is a country, Carlos. Thank you for that. Person turquoise waving. Fuck yeah. Skate Alex. Hell yeah. Let's ear bleed. I'm super down to make you guys' ear bleed. That sounds fantastic. That's why I'm here. So today we're going to have our ears bleed all over again because I'm going to break down how I made my latest song, Get Too Close, which for those of you who haven't heard it, sounds like this. I don't want to get too close. And let me know if the levels are good, guys. I don't want the cracks to show. Okay, very sexy. Think I'm better off alone. Yeah. Play with this real quick. In and out. Nope. Don't want that. Cause I don't want to get too close. There we go. Okay, beautiful. Okay, Philippines. Do you mean Philippines? I don't know exactly what's going on there, but all right. So this is the song. This is the production session of the song. This is where I actually wrote and made the song and made all the crazy ass sounds. Let's talk about the vocals. So I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to vocals at all. And in fact, this phrase, I don't want to get too close, I did not write. I took that from a fucking Splice sample that sounds like this. I don't want to get too close. So, I got rid of all that bullshit after that, but just that initial phrase, I don't want to get too close, I totally ripped that and made it sound a lot worse by using my voice, my vocal flaps to do that, and I had to put a fuck ton of processing to make that sound even halfway decent. So just to look at what's going on here, I have a gate that is cutting out all the silences, all the little quiet parts, like I don't want to get too close, me smacking my lips and shit. And then I got an EQ to cut out all the low end and boost a little bit of that high. Gets rid of the breath hitting the mic because I'm a mouth breather. And then, oh, thank you, Noodleborn. This track has been on repeat. Fuck yeah, dude. I appreciate that. Run up those streaming numbers, you guys. And don't worry if you haven't heard the song. I will spam the Spotify link right now for everyone just to make sure that you put this on repeat. And matter of fact, don't even listen to the song. Just put it on repeat and go to sleep. And that will definitely help me algorithmically. I don't want to get too okay, close. So I'm using auto shift to do all the auto tuning stuff. We're in the key of D minor. I put the smooth all the way down for that Travis Scott feel, and you might notice that over here I'm automating the formant shift, which makes me sound demonic. I don't want to get too close. Or like a cute little, I don't want to get too hot close. Chipmunk. I don't want to get. So that's pretty fun. And then I have this very sweet free compression plugin. This is the La plugin, LA2A emulation. Get too close. Very analog, all that shit. Then I'm compressing it again with the stock Ableton compressor just to fucking smash it. OTT to smash it some more. I don't want to get too close. Valhalla Shimmer, which I'm not even fucking using. And then later on in the song, I'm using this shifter to create this sort of crazy chipmunk chorus effect. I don't want to get too close. Okay, well, which is very amusing. Very amusing. Midnight to cut more low end out. And then I'm using Supermassive to kind of give it like this ambience. If I turn the mix all the way up, Just sounds very far away and scary. I don't wanna get too close. But that adds a nice little bit of ambience there. Fuck yeah, dude. Music video is so well done, as well as the song. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Shout out to my boy Austin for filming that, editing that, putting it all together. Yeah, fucking amazing, dude. I just Googled music video guy in my area and I found him. So, yeah, power of the internet, seriously. All right. So let's hear it in the mix. I don't want to get too close. Okay, so underneath my terrible sounding vocals, I have some pads. And this pad right here is kind of the main pad throughout the song. And I'm using Granulator 3 for this shit. So let me turn all the effects off. You can really hear what's going on. So if I just arm this and press a single note, it sounds very beautiful and sexy, but this is actually a guitar loop that I played. Oh, let me play it again. Right, so that's just the harmonic right there that I'm looping. And I'm doing it on this cloud mode, which sounds a little bit cuter, a little bit nicer, more dreamy than just the classic mode. Classic sounds a little, cloud. Kind of randomizes the position a little bit, gives it that little bit of nice texture. Let me answer some beautiful questions in the chat. Do you do all this processing in one go or come back to it and add things as you mix and add other parts? I do it as I go, and in a second, once we get through the production session, I will show you how I do the final mix down in a separate project, because I'm psycho like that. Yeah. Genuinely really great track. Thank you. Do you ever structure your Ableton projects? I mean, you can see here, bro, like, this shit is a complete mess. Like, I haven't labeled shit. I have a bajillion unused tracks. It's just absolute hot garbage, which is another reason why I stem everything out and do the mix in audio later on. Not everybody does that. I don't recommend that for everyone, but for me, it's invaluable. All right, let's get back to this pad. So I'm playing these two notes up on top and then kind of this bass line underneath. Very sexy. And then over the top of that, I have this kind of analog ARP melody, which sounds really kind of degraded at the beginning. And that's because I'm using this free MP3 degradation plugin called Main, which kind of gives it this very lo-fi quality. And I'm automating the turbo to kind of slowly bring it into focus, which is kind of sick. And occasionally doing these like crazy ass delay throws with the dry wet on this delay. That's very sexy, gorgeous. Okay, so let me attend to these comments here. It's a mixed veggie delight. Appreciate that. Great track, and the video is a wowzer too. It's a wowzer indeed, very much so. Do you have an instrumental version? I do have one. I haven't posted it yet, but maybe I can put that on my Patreon or something. Speaking of which, patreon.com/YouSuckAtProducing. Oh my gosh, what a great place to support your favorite creators. Look at that. Yeah, I do private track roastings. We do hangs every month. I do sample packs, including sounds from this song. Wow, so good. What a nice shameless self-plug. Let's keep going. Okay, now we're developing the song. We're adding a beautiful Reese bass underneath. And I made this with this fucking ancient relic of a plugin called Serum 1. I know this shit's retro at this point. I have not yet graduated to Serum 2. It's scary to me, but beautiful woman Steve Dudu made it free, so I have no excuse. But yeah, that's the Reese. And we're just also slowly bringing in the drums here, and I'm degrading them in the same way. I got Main going here, automating the bit rate to kind of slowly bring it into focus. Let's hear that. Okay, Tyler. Main, I just discovered you by watching one of your tutorial that ended up as a therapy. Wait, which one of those? None of my tutorials, I would say, are therapeutic. In fact, probably most of them are traumatic. But yeah, you can see where my hair went, Tyler. I mean, all that trauma from doing these YouTube tutorials. Let's keep going. Okay, now we're doing the breakdown. I got some soft piano in the background. And for this piano, I'm using the classic Spitfire Labs soft piano. So beautiful and sexy. And then I have this nice sad boy drone, which is from the Sharks sample pack. And I'm reducing that down with this sweet plugin called Peel. It's like a spectral filter thing. It's pretty sick. Yeah. So now we're doing the build up. We've got the kicks pumping away, 4 on the floor. And you can hear me, I'm getting deeper, more of that testosterone's coming in, explaining the hair loss, but also, yeah, I'm making it deeper with this 4-minute shifter right here. Automating that down. Nice. Questions in the chat though. Did you enjoy the new Jane Remover and Skrillex album? I've listened to some of each. I haven't delved in and listened to the full things, but from what I've heard, fantastic stuff. Yeah, Jane Remover is fucking great. You are the GOAT. Greetings from Spain. Thank you, Fabio. I appreciate that. In one of your shorts, you played a guitar part on the MIDI pad thing. Are you talking about the push? What VST was that, if you don't mind my asking? That was a Real 8. That was this VS. Or wait, no, actually, no, that was probably just the built-in guitar in Ableton. That's probably this thing right here. Which, if you have Ableton, you can get this for free in the Guitar and Bass pack. Guitar and Bass pack, where the fuck is it? Yeah, this thing. Yeah, this is free, man. You have this, bro. You have no excuse not to have MIDI guitar all over your tracks now. Did you enjoy the new episode of Skibbity Toilet? I have not seen that. I haven't been keeping up. What are they, like season 23 at this point? It's probably like episode 69, 420. Okay, but many great questions in the chat, you guys. Thank you so much. What tier do I need to subscribe for to get an instrumental version? Just let's do the $5 a month tier for you, Yacht King, and I will personally post the instrumental for all my $5 a month patrons. Cool. I like this song, but I don't want to get too close. Same, bro. Very relatable. Did I see you're working with a label now? And if so, how has that experience been so far? It's fantastic, man. Quality Goods Records. What a great label. Shout out Uzi. Yeah, they're great. Honestly, most of what they do is just tell me to fucking get my shit together and post some reels. You know what I'm saying? So it's just good accountability for me to actually promote the song. Beyond that, they haven't really done that much. I mean, I don't think a label in 2025 is all that much beyond just like an extra marketing push. And of course, taking half the royalties in exchange. But yeah, it's been great. Shout out Uzi, shout out Quality Goods. Okay, now we're in the build-up. And I'm using some risers here. These are just fucking splice packs. I'm also automating this Reese to go up in pitch. Filter cutoff going up, and also the pitch bend. Woo. There we go. I don't wanna get too close. Hell yeah. Okay, so now we're at the drop. And I was kind of going for like this Hamdi deep dubstep kind of sound. So on my drums, I have a shit ton of hi-hats, various hi-hat sounds here, very syncopated. And then I'm using this Grape Milk snare. Shout out Grape Milk. So yeah, that's it for the drums. And then for the basses, I'm doing kind of like this chugging, fucking ridiculous gun bass. Ooh. Okay, so this is a Kenoto preset that I edited. That's basically the original sound. And then I added a noise oscillator And I just put a perk sound in the noise oscillator. So this is a pro tip. This is actually something I picked up from my boy Odd Prophet. Shout out Odd Prophet. But if you just get like a perk sound, let's get like an Eli perk sound in here. Like that. You can just drag that into Serum. And you just now have like this extra texture to your bass. Well, that's a little too crazy. But yeah, you kind of get what I mean, right? So it just adds this extra bit of like percussionness, almost like it's a drum sound. So shout out Odd Prophet, shout out Eli Derp for these techniques. Now my bass sounds terrible. Let's just find a different perk sound to put in there. I totally forgot which one I used. That's fine. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad, but that's okay. Okay, and then over the top of that, I have this very classic deep dubstep bass, which I made just using the FFT add seconds wavetable in Sweet Serum. If you just turn up the wavetable position, you get the classic dubstep shit. And I'm putting LFO1 on the level to kind of give it this wobbliness. And I'm filtering out all the low end so it doesn't interfere with my main bass. What is the Ultra Disperser? Great question. The Ultra Disperser is an Ahi rack. Adds this little bit of extra bubbliness to it, but I believe Live 12.2 now has a disperser built in the Roar effect. I don't have the beta running on this one, but yeah, if you just use that, you will have this disperser sound. But this one's got a bunch of cool presets. Whoa. Yeah, pretty sick. Just gives like this extra bit of like wonky wobbliness. Yeah. Fire. Okay, what saturator did you use? Great question. I'm using mostly just the stock Ableton saturator. Yeah. I put that on basically everything. I put that on my drum group just to squeeze the peaks a little bit. And this multiband compression preset to kind of level out all my drums and glue them together. But yeah, these two are basically my go-tos for drum group processing. Wow, that sounds fucked up. And then halfway through the drop, we switch to this crazy ass bass sound, which is the same sound as before, but the only difference is I'm automating the level of oscillator B, or excuse me, am I doing that? Yeah, that's all I'm doing. Automating the level of oscillator B, and you'll notice I have it doing FM from A. A is down an octave, so I'll turn this up. Yeah. So you get some insanity out of that, and you can control the FM amount as well. Yeah, so I just thought that sounded crazy nasty. Let's hear it in the mix. Okay, let me answer some questions in the chat. Man, this mojito's hitting right now. I'm getting fucked up off this. Do you have a video on multiband compression? I do not. Yeah, I should probably make one, huh? Yeah, but honestly, for multiband compression, I just use OTT, or I just use this preset called multiband compression. But basically, all multiband compression is just dividing the signal into 3 different parts, right? You got the lows, the mids, and the highs, and you're basically compressing each individually. You're just turning down the low, mids, and highs based on the incoming signal. So just turning down the loud parts. That's all a compressor does. And you can control how much it's turning down each part with these red sliders here. So that's just killing my kick. I hate that. But we can bring out my kick a lot if I do this. Or let's say I want a less high end. I could just turn that down. So you can almost think of it as like an EQ that's dynamic. It's an EQ that's responding to the incoming signal. Yeah, that's kind of how I think of it. But yeah. Okay. Oh, fuck yeah, Bowen. Thanks for coming through, bro. It's actually not a Polar. It's a LaCroix. I've had to change my sponsorships, unfortunately. You know, after the whole Waterloo debacle, I was addicted to Lou. I had to, you know, go for something a little lighter. So that's why I'm drinking the LaCroix Mojito flavor. Pretty good. Great questions, everyone. Lately, you've added more of an artist focus to your productions, i.e. pushing out songs with your own vocals and image. What made you want to take that leap? That is a great question, 20VII. Basically, I want to stop being as much of a silly YouTube tutorial guy and actually be, you know, taken seriously as an artist. That would be pretty cool. And actually, like, you know, play shows and put out music and have people listen to it and like it. And part of that's been, you know, singing more and writing actual lyrics and songs and playing guitar and doing all that fun stuff. And yeah, and just putting out more like actual music shit, because that's at the end of the day what I got into this for. It's just the tutorials took off way more, and I love teaching and I love being a silly guy on the internet. But yeah, I just feel like I've put myself in a little bit of a box there, and I want to break out of it. So that's kind of what I've been doing. When's the tour? Ramiz, that is a great question. As soon as somebody fucking wants to book me. I'm in the process of maybe putting together a show in and around San Francisco Bay Area. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, if any big dick DJ wants to take me on tour with them, I would absolutely love that. That would be a dream come true. But I think I just got to put out more tunes probably to make that happen. And have them go viral and all that bullshit. Okay, so let's keep going on with this drop. We just discussed this ridiculous bass. Let's keep going with that. I got more of these plonkies over the top. This is just a sample from a Kenoto bass pack. And these little wompies are actually from one of my sample packs. If I extend these out. Yeah, I think I just made these in Vital, and you can get these samples on my Patreon, patreon.com/yousuckatproducing. Hell yeah, bro. Yo, I'll come to your show in SF. Dude, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. That fires me up, honestly. I just, yeah, we need to find a headliner, because I'm not going to fucking sell enough tickets, notwithstanding you guys. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, if you guys ever have any thoughts on who you think should headline a show with Underbelly, I'm all ears, bro. I'm all ears. Okay, so now we got some craziness in the bass, and these are all very similar to the last bass. I think the only things I'm changing here, yeah, I'm just changing the octave of oscillator B. It looks like. That's just kind of giving it a little bit of a different texture. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the drop. Let's keep going. Now we're back to the same shit for the breakdown. Very sexy. Bringing in the drums again. Build up risers. Way too many risers. I don't wanna get too close. Hell yeah. Okay, now we're doing the techno shit. I wanted to have a second drop in this song that wasn't just the same boring ass wumpus. I wanted to switch it up, so I went for a techno thing. 4 on the floor kicks. And then this loop right here. I literally just searched techno in Ableton. This is a built-in techno loop. Shout out fucking stock loops. Yeah, it's this. That is all that is. And then I think I just muted some sounds. That's all I did. But yeah, I don't think I changed anything else, and I just layered that with the kick. That's the drums. And then I think I have a different bass for this drop. I'm using the classic thunk bass. This is a Vital preset that I used everywhere on my last EP. And then I'm layering that with some more top loops. This is a Noisia cymbal loop, ride loop, hi-hat loop that I made with DSHH. That's it. Yeah, listen for a sec. Okay. So I'm adding more drums, more percussion, obviously. It's getting super crazy. And then I got these beautiful ass choirs, which if we take off all the effects here, it's just me trying my best to fucking squeeze out some sound out of my vocal folds here. So how did I make that sound not like ass? Well, I put Lala on it. Hilarious. I put auto shift on it, and I messed with the formant here, brought it down a bit. And shimmer, just kind of smothering it with some beautiful reverb. Sketch cassette to compress it, color to give it some like lo-fi quality. And that's basically it. And I just did the same thing on this other track here. Actually, for this one, I put the pitch up an octave in auto shift to kind of give it this beautiful eunuch style performance here. Okay, very sick. And that is pretty much the production session. So let me see if I missed any questions here. Nice. What's your rate for a 1 hour show? Damn. Fuck. Do I want to do? I would do one for 500. I would do a show for $500. Yeah. I don't have a manager or an agent. If I did, they would probably crucify me if I said that, but fuck it. So yeah, Underbelly in your local, you know, in your house even. I would do a private striptease. Just kidding, not that. That would probably cost, you know, a little bit more. But I would do a private performance anywhere in the world for $500. There you go. Okay, possible OnlyFans side career aside, that was the production session, but I mentioned to you guys that I export all the stems and do a proper mixdown in a separate session. So let's fucking go there. I'm going to go to current project, and I have a shit ton of versions of this. Let's go to the mixdown. Don't save on this. Yeah, 500 to wake up to an Underbelly set. You get feet picks for another 500. Yeah, I should probably make that a tier on my Patreon. Do I do funerals? Damn. No, I've never done I've actually never been to a funeral in my life, so I don't know what that would do to me emotionally to have my first funeral be me performing. Oh, but that is a great yeah, I guess beggars can't be choosers, right? I could do a whole funeral tour across the country in a fucking hearse. Okay. Yeah, OnlyFans, funerals, that's basically my only two options at this point career-wise. Let's get into the mixdown session, everyone. So check this out. This looks a lot nicer, huh? I've color-coded everything. I've organized everything. Everything's in these nice little groups. You can see the audio stems for everything, so you can see the waveforms. They're nice, big, and beautiful. And yeah, it just helps me get organized. My CPU isn't exploding. I can, you know, finally have an excuse to actually label all these things. So yeah, without doing this, I would just go completely insane. But let's see if it actually sounds any different. Let me Whoa, okay, so it's definitely a lot louder. I guess let's talk about that. So the loudness is, I guess, a mastering thing. And this is the only thing I have on my master. That's my entire mastering chain. It's fucking newfangled saturate. And it's just on the hard clip setting. That is it. That is my entire mastering chain. I like it because it sounds a little bit better than the stock Ableton saturator. And yeah, that's it. That's my mastering. But let's take that off.
I don't wanna get too close.
Let's see, did I process the vocals? I probably added a bit more compression here. I added soothe to kind of make it sound a little less harsh.
I don't wanna get too close.
I probably added a de-esser, yes, to reduce the S sounds.
Close.
That's very sexy and beautiful. Yeah, I do normalize all the tracks before I export, and for those who don't know, normalizing is basically making each track as loud as possible without clipping. That's why all my waveforms are nice, big, and beautiful. The positive of that is, yes, you can see all the waveforms nice and big, but the problem is that you have to redo all the relative volumes. So when I start a mix, I bring in all the stems, I put all the volumes all the way down to minus infinity, and then I slowly bring them in one by one at a time. Real careful, real deliberate. And yes, it is more work to fucking redo all that shit, but it sounds better in the end, in my opinion. So that's kind of my workflow there. Yes, I am also available to play your adult gender reveal parties, 100%. Jimmy, anything for you, man? Or woman? I don't know, you know, I don't discriminate, but yeah, if you're planning on changing any of your genders anytime soon, please send me an email. $500.
I don't wanna get too close.
Okay, so let's see what else I did here. Yeah, the same trick with the multiband compression. I have to redo all the group processing because you can't really export groups all that well. And then let's look at the basses, because it looks like in my sub bass, my main bass for the drop, I'm actually carving out some of that lower mid-range, and I found that if I get rid of this, my sub actually comes out a little bit more. Just makes it sound a little less muddy, so if I really exaggerate it, kind of feels a little hollow, right? But if I just cut a little bit out, kind of makes more room for my kick, more room for the rest of my mix. That's a nice little tip I learned from my boy Eli Derp. But really, the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, here for mixing is finding dope reference tracks. And the reference track I mostly used for this one is this track called Away by Bala and Rom. This is another Quality Goods release. And it just sounds fucking insanely fat. Like, holy shit, how did they make it sound so fast? Like, what the fuck? And so what I do there is first I check how loud my mix is, and I do that with this fancy loudness meter. So my mix is coming in at like minus 13 LUFS, not terribly loud. And then I check the mix of the reference, and I see how loud that is. And I'm like, holy shit, this is insanely fucking loud. What the fuck? And then I have to turn it down to match the loudness of my song. And I see what that sounds like. And I try to turn it down so it matches the same LUFS that we have. So minus 13 is the goal here. Okay, that's pretty close. And then I'm like, all right, so now that we've matched the loudness, how do I, you know, match the sort of tonal quality of the mix? How do I make my sub sound as fat, make my high end as bright, that sort of thing? So for the sub, the low end, I use a spectrum, and I play my song, and I see the spectrum, right? And you can notice that the spectrum is auto resizing based on the incoming signal, which makes it impossible to read, right? Because it's always fucking changing. So stupid. So what you can do is press play, and then you can turn off the auto resizing on the bottom left, and then you can use these little blue sliders here to zoom in on the low end, and then bam, I can see my sub peaking right there. It's hitting at minus 6, and then, or sorry, minus 9, my bad. And then I can solo out the reference, and I can see where their sub is hitting, and it's looking like their sub is a little bit quieter than mine. So I would like go back and turn down the sub to match the same level. And then I just sort of go back and forth. Wait, yeah, minus 12, here we go. Yeah, so I would just go back and forth between their mix and my mix and just kind of try and match it as close as I can until I'm about as happy with it as I could be. Okay, a couple questions in the chat. Why Ableton and not Bitchwig? I don't know, bro. I've just been an Ableton fanboy since day one, basically, and I've been too lazy to learn anything else. So that is why. Probably, who knows? Maybe Bitwig is a better DAW. I don't fucking know. Would you play at Trump's inauguration for 50K? Pull a blow? Fuck. I mean, 50. I would probably need like $1 million. Yeah, to play Trump's inauguration. Then I could maybe, you know, maybe live with myself for like another year or two before the guilt becomes overwhelming. But yeah, you know, maybe a cool million, million and a half. I would, you know, play for our boy. Maybe actually, you know, we were talking about funerals earlier. I would definitely play his funeral, 100%. That'd be a great send off. So yeah, if you guys know anyone who's booking Trump's hopefully sooner rather than later funeral, I'm all in. Okay. Did you use different reference tracks for different parts of the song or just one for everything? That's a great question. So usually, yeah, I use multiple reference tracks. So I used this one, and then I used also a couple other ones. So I used the Skrillex track. And let me just turn off SonarWorks real quick. I'll talk about SonarWorks in a second. But yeah, this track has like a shit ton of low end, looks like. And I just sort of go back and forth. Like I'm playing my track. I'll check it against that reference. I'll check it against this one. I'll check it against this one. So yeah, I'll go back and forth between a couple different references, but usually I just do it on the drop because the drop is really the part that I want to hit the hardest. And once I feel like the drop is on point with the reference tracks, then I'll probably check the other parts of my song against my drop. My drop essentially becomes the reference, and I just go back and forth and basically mix it to the drop, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think using multiple reference tracks is super key because it could be that in this one very sick track, they're like putting their sub like 10 dB higher than all the other tracks in the genre, and we would have no way of knowing if there weren't any other references. So it's just a nice little reality check there. And then what I do all the time that I turn off for these streams because I don't want it to fuck with your guys' audio is I use another plugin called SonarWorks, and basically it makes an EQ to basically make my headphones suck less, and my headphones and my speakers. So I very cleverly titled my studio Fuck Castle. But these are my headphones, Sennheiser HD600. You can see without SonarWorks, there's like no low end. And with SonarWorks, it boosts the low end way more, so I can actually hear what's going on with my sub. So yeah, I do this all the time. I'm always producing with SonarWorks on, except for when I'm streaming, because again, I don't want you guys to have like 12 extra dB of low end when that isn't really real. I talked about the initial spark earlier. It was the splice loop. It was the splice loop that I played earlier. Let's see, where is it? It's this one.
I don't wanna get too close.
Yeah, that was the splice loop, and then I wrote a couple, like 3 more lines after that. But yeah, that was the idea. And then also just going to a bunch of Wook festivals this past year, 2024, and just getting inspired by the shit that I was hearing. Yeah, SonarWorks. I sure hope it does. It does work. Definitely works. Cool. Wait, what computer are you using? That's a lot of plugins and 68 tracks. Well, here's a sitch T. We talked earlier about this. Yes, this would explode my computer if I was doing the regular session, but I bounced most of this to audio. Most of this doesn't really have any processing on it. I've already basically freezed and flattened everything. So yeah, I mean, it's actually quite doable now that it's all in audio for me. Bro, make sure to refresh your ear pads. They do make a huge difference in terms of bass leaking. Dude, these things leak no matter what. They're open back, so it's just fucked. Like everybody around me, even if my headphones are like on one, like everybody around me can hear exactly what I'm doing. It's terrible. Okay, let's see if there's anything else in this mix. Let's see. Yeah, so another reason why I bounced to audio is, like, if you look at this bass, for example, you can see that certain parts of the bass are louder than others, which I would have never noticed if I hadn't bounced to audio. So that's kind of a big reason why I like to do it. Generally, we want to keep the amount of sub the same for every part of the song. So like this is hitting -9. Make sure my subs on this are kind of hitting around there. Yeah, so we just want to make sure that's really consistent. And you might notice for this sound, I actually didn't bounce to audio, or I actually did at first, but then I was like, this is too shitty. I have to go into the sound design and redo some of this shit. So I brought in the MIDI versions, and you can do this really easily if it's all in the same project. You can go to current project, and I can go to this pre-mix file where I stem everything out, and I can find one of the basses and just click and drag it into there, and boom, it's got the bass, it's got all the MIDI with it, it's got all the sounds. So yeah, that's kind of what I do some of the time when I feel like the sound is just not quite there. So in terms of the processing for these glonks, let me just turn all this shit off. Yeah, that's what it sounds like with zero processing. It's crazy. And then let's put Eli Derps on there. Let's see. Can I put OTT on this? Anyways, I have M Convolution Easy. This is a free convolution reverb plugin that I use all the time. In the sound design folder, there's just a bunch of these impulse responses that kind of change the texture of the sound. Very cool. You just bring it down a little bit and boom, your bass now has, you know, a little bit more texture. Erosion for some high end, that disperser again for that wobbliness. And this one's a fucking throwback. This plugin is ancient, Isotope Trash. I don't know how it works. I just use the fucking presets, but yeah, it just gives it a nice little bit of extra gas. Multi-band compression again. And I use this again like an EQ, so I'm just bringing out that low end before squashing it. And doing a little EQ to cut out that sweet spot for my kick. Soothe to kind of get rid of some harshness. And then Newfangled to smash it. Yeah, so that's pretty much the signal chain there. And these basses are all very similar, so I just group them together and put all the effects on the group. Hell yeah. I've heard Isotope Trash is an industry secret weapon. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's classic for sure. They put out a new version that's a lot worse, so nobody uses that. So that's why I still stick to the old one. But yeah, again, I have no idea how it works. I just use the presets. Okay. How do you isolate the low end of the reference track on the spectrum? Yeah, it's just what we did before. Your low end, I mean, especially in dubstep, is going to be by far the loudest fucking part of your mix. So you're just going to see this big bump right here, and you're just zooming in on it by changing the range of the spectrum. I'm just going like that. I'm just dragging up, switching this from auto to range, and then just dragging up, and bada bing, bada boom. There's my booty bass. Nice. Do you only set relative volumes, or do you also turn the gain of the sounds to -12 or 18? Nope. I don't pay attention to that. Even if I'm clipping a little bit on the master. Like here, I'm basically at clipping. That's okay. You can clip a little bit as long as it doesn't sound like ass. It really doesn't matter, because I'm just clipping this at the end anyway. But yeah, I mean, -18, -12, they're all kind of arbitrary values. As long as you got enough headroom to turn shit up, you're Gucci. All right, cool. Let's go and see if there was anything else maybe in the second half here. Whoa, holy shit. Let me turn this down.
I don't wanna get too close.
Yeah, so you can see for the vocals, I'm just copy pasting the same close over and over again. I'm just pitching it up and down there. Over here, I comped a lot of these. So I'm like going through here and I'm just manually taking out the silences.
I don't wanna get too close.
Like, that was the original take, and then I just took this close from a different take. In fact, might even be able to show you guys the take lanes. So this was one take.
I don't wanna get too close. I don't even know who turned you.
Yeah, that shit I didn't end up using at all.
I don't wanna get too close.
Yeah, and that was kind of like wobbly on the auto tune. So I had to fucking comp a couple takes together to really make it tolerable. But honestly, this isn't that much for me. Like, I usually have like 100 takes. I guess I suck at singing, but yeah, you know, whatever gets the job done. How do you see the future of electronic music? It's all AI, bro. Same as the future for anything else. All AI, everything, every day. No, I don't know. I don't know what the future of electronic music is. Hopefully, me playing Trump's funeral. That's the future of electronic music. Okay, any fun way to find vocal samples besides Splice? Well, I'm singing. That's one way to find it. You can just get acapellas off YouTube and chop those up. You can get acapellas off anything, really, if you use AI. Vocalremover.org is my favorite website for splitting vocal stems from tracks, so I've definitely used that. Cool. How long did it take you to make Get Too Close? Damn, that is a good question. I think most of it took like a month, and then I took a break from it for a while, and then I got Quality Goods interested, and then it took me like another week or so to finish it out and mix it and all that shit. So yeah, not crazy long, but I started this back in like October. So yeah, it's been a minute. Who would follow and go see an AI artist? That is a good question. I mean, isn't there like a fucking fake pop like singer that's a hologram in Japan that people go ape shit over? Isn't that actually a thing? Like, I feel like we're not that far from that. Yeah. Yeah, take lanes. Take lanes are awesome. If you right click on something and you hit show take lanes, there they all are. And you can just comp together by using the pencil tool, and you just go like this. You just draw in the takes like that. So what do I even say here?
I don't even know where to turn to. Yeah, even know where
Wow,
to.
so fucking sexy. Yeah, take lanes are dope. Yeah, Hakune Miku. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, you don't need humans to do anything anymore, basically. So on that very positive and optimistic note, I do have to run, but thank you all so much for being here, for fucking with the song, with the video. How do you cope that your music videos get 30K while your toots get 30K? Well, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, for sure, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that people care less about, you know, my music than making their music sound better. So, you know, I totally get it. You know, I want to make my music sound better too. So, yeah, and I love giving information to people and helping them express themselves. But yeah, if my audience for the music is smaller, so be it. You know, I just am going to keep pushing that. And, you know, if you guys want to ride, that's sick. If not, that's okay too. So, yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. I'll be dropping songs basically every month now and doing more music videos. So, hell yeah. Thank you guys. Have a good